Hello everybody and welcome to Roy Eynhallow's videocast. It's me Roy and today I'm interviewing Joanna Penn, a thriller writer, the author of Pentecost, Prophecy and coming up on next Exodus, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely.
Joanna Penn, a writer who writes about ancient mysteries with a modern thrill. The creator of the Creative Penn. I think that's more or less what I know about you. Would you like to add anything more about yourself?
Well, I mean, I guess, yeah, I run the Creative Penn, but primarily I'm an author, and I like to share what I learn with other people.
Well, that's wonderful. Actually, I've been following your blog for quite a while, and I can see that you're sharing very regularly and very generously. I think that's excellent. In general, I think the most important thing for a modern writer is generosity. Would you agree with me?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm a big believer in social karma. I think that the energy you give out is what you get back. So I think it's really important to be generous online, and it comes back to you.
It does come back to you. I think you can tell us the story of how it all came back to you. Recently, we've heard the big news. You landed a literary agent while on a conference on a thriller festival in New York. If you could tell us more about it.
Okay. So I went to Thrillerfest, which is a brilliant conference for thriller writers, and they have an agent pitching session. And I'm a self-published author, so I wasn't really that worried about getting an agent or traditional publishing. But I went into that kind of process just interested to see how it went. And because of my self-published sales and my online platform, a couple of agents were really interested in my work. So that is one thing I definitely learned, is that there are so many books out there. You have to kind of have something a bit extra these days in terms of bringing readers to the process. So I signed with an agent to represent my thrillers, but that doesn't mean I'm stopping self-publishing. I want to be a hybrid author and have some books with traditional and some books as self-published. So yeah, that's kind of the way it happened. But it's funny because people have asked me, oh well, it took you so long to build up your platform and all that, and wouldn't it have been quicker just to do the query process? But I just don't like that kind of passive process of just sending letters and things out to people, emails and query packages. So I think it probably took about the same time as somebody who didn't do what I did, but I've made quite a bit of money self-publishing in the meantime, so that's why I think it's kind of a better way.
Another thing, I think when we met in London, you told me that when you approached the agent, when you pitched, you said, yeah, I'm self-published, and they said, yeah, all right. And said, well, I sold 40,000 copies, and actually, I think that sales figure really boosted your profile and really made you more, let's say, sellable. What do you think about it? What do you think about the role of figures, the hard cash, the bottom line, in the world of self-published authors and in the world of indie authors? What comments can you bring? Can you make on that?
I think everyone has a different definition of success. So for me, 40,000 books in just over a year it sounds to some people a lot and to other people nothing. When you think about people like Amanda Hocking, who sold like 1 million books in a month, then I sold practically nothing. So it's kind of like you have to decide what your definition of success is, and then see, and then do your best, I think. But also I'm not going to stop there. You sell more books the more books you put out, so I'm going to keep putting books out. But definitely people should be keeping records of the numbers that they sell, and I was pretty much told that once you've sold 20,000 in a relatively short period of time, then people are interested in your books in a more commercial fashion because they can make money on it. And what you've got to remember is, as a business person, and publishers are business people, they only want to publish books that sell. So actually self-published writers can take the risk away by demonstrating sales.
Oh, right. Yeah, I think this is very important when you're trying to actually commercialize your fiction. Of course, there are people who just write for themselves and write for the sake of it. Some people write to win literary prizes, and I remember a great article on your blog. Would you like to be a best writing author or a best selling one? And I think you're going for both. But the most important thing for a writer, of course, we have to eat, we have to live, and we have to make some money out of our fiction, because our stories are what actually makes us what we are. So that's in the end, when somebody decides to buy it, when somebody is interested enough to pay us money for the story, I think this is excellent. And I mean, congratulations! Really, I'm really happy for you about landing a literary agent, because that will help you become a hybrid author. And I think you should definitely continue with your great platform, with your blog.
Oh yeah, and I think that's really important. The agent is just one step in a process. I mean, I don't have a book deal. Getting an agent, it's just another hurdle. So I don't want people to think that there's some kind of end in itself in getting an agent. It's not at all. And in the same way, every book you write, you put out there, and then there's always another book. So it's kind of like this is a never-ending process. And I don't know if we ever reach the top in any sense. It's like this is a journey of our whole lives as writers. We can write for our whole lives. And but what the most important thing, as you said, is deciding on your definition of success. And if you want to win a literary prize, then you'll focus quite differently on if you want to be a New York Times best-selling author of multiple books. If you want to write like Enid Blyton, kids author 300 books in your lifetime, you better get writing. So there's many different ways, definitions of success.
And talking about success, I would like to maybe recap your journey towards success. When you just started out, when you started your blog, from the moment you actually thought, okay, I am a writer, I'm going to do that, till now. If you could tell us a bit about your journey as an author entrepreneur, as a self-published author, and then maybe tell what lessons you've learned on the way, something for our readers to take away, let's say, after they've listened to this.
Yeah, sure. Well, so there's quite a lot of parts of that question. The journey, I guess I always wanted to write, and then I was an IT consultant, so I had a full-time day job and everything, which I didn't really like. So I wrote a career change book called How to Love Your Job or Get a New One, which is still out there for people. I reissued it quite recently, actually, with all my entrepreneurial lessons. So I wrote that book back in 2008 originally, and then self-published it because at the time it wasn't Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek had come out. I was no way going to get a book deal, so I self-published, and then I started the Creative Penn to share my lessons learned around self-publishing, so people didn't get ripped off. And I also found that I didn't know anything about marketing, so I started learning about marketing and sharing that on the blog as well. So really that, the first couple of years I only wrote non-fiction, I blogged and podcasted, and it was all part-time, or not even part-time, it was in my spare time because I had a full-time job. And then I decided I wanted to try and write fiction. So back in 2009 or 10, I did NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month, and just loved it. I really loved writing fiction. And so then I decided to kind of switch my process and write and really focus on fiction. So now I make a living from my fiction books and from teaching other people, speaking, and also selling courses on the Creative Penn, and that is now my full-time income, I guess, my full-time career.
All right. I think it's a very exciting journey. I mean, it's been, 4 years, and in 4 years you've really achieved a lot. Of course, the most important thing, I think, something that every writer should learn, everyone who is actually trying to get a book together should learn, is the fact that you should spend a lot of time actually learning how to do stuff. When you've written your book, you wrote your book about a career change. Then of course you had to research a lot about that before writing the book. Then you had to research a lot about publishing and marketing. And you said for a couple of years you did only that. After which you thought, oh, I'm going to switch to writing fiction, which is another learning journey because it's a very steep learning curve. Just starting a novel and trying not to edit every page, trying to get things right, trying to finish it first, get the drive to actually finish those 50,000, 60,000, 100,000 words. After which, of course, comes the editing. And yes, one of the most important things that you said is that writing is a journey. It is a journey. It's a learning process. It is a never-ending process. Writing is a career, and it's a very exciting and very serious one. I wanted to talk about your books, your trilogy, Pentecost, Prophecy, and Exodus. What's happening with that at the moment? This trilogy, as far as I'm concerned, is being pitched by your agent. Is it off the market on Amazon, or are you writing anything at the moment which will replace it on Kindle?
Right, so I was never ever going to remove my books from anywhere until they are sold. So essentially they are still for sale as self-published books on Amazon and all the other stores. So yeah, I'm still a self-published author. If there is a deal that will give me more than I can do on my own, and that's very important to me. I'm absolutely educated, as you said, I'm very educated on publishing contracts, on the financials of publishing and all of that. So I know what I will sign and what I won't. But no, until the first book, it's not a trilogy, it's actually a series. So I have plans for at least 7, probably more. So it's a series kind of, process. Exodus hasn't been released yet because my agent wants to kind of hold on to it in case we do get a deal, and then I have something, unique. But I've said to her, this is my income, so I'm not waiting very long. So basically I've said that I will publish Exodus before the end of the year, December 2012, if the books aren't sold. So basically I haven't changed anything right now. Signing with an agent hasn't changed my life, hasn't made me any different as an author. If I sell those books, then yes, I will be writing other books. I'll be writing other books anyway. So, but I have a whole idea for another series, and whether I will hold on to those. I've also considered writing under another name. So there's lots of different ways that people can have a foot in both camps these days. But at the moment, I don't even really know where this project as such will go. It's more of an experiment right now.
Oh, right. So actually, you really want to have it your way. You're not constrained.
Absolutely.
By anything at the moment. Yes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to compromise on what I'm a businesswoman. I'm an author. I fully believe that the author needs to be empowered to make their own decisions, and I know that I can make money publishing on Amazon and Kobo and all of that. So if I don't get a publishing deal, it doesn't really bother me because I already have. I'm already out there, I'm already selling, I'm building an audience. So I think that's a really good place to be. It's not desperate for some kind of deal. I think if people feel that kind of desperation, that's very disempowering. And I'm all about, proactivity, really.
Yes, empowering the author.
Yeah.
Empower to the people.
Yeah.
Right. Actually, talking of contacts and business, I know that for you, a writer's job is in no way a solitary job. I know some people believe that being a writer means actually being stuck in a small dingy room and just scribbling down on the paper and then trying to get it out in the real world. That's not the case for a modern author. What is it like for you? If you could share your experience of establishing business contacts and how you actually do that, how you go about promoting your business, pitching your business and expanding it.
Well, I do have two businesses, which is my fiction business and the Creative Penn. So I do have two kind of sides. And from the author side, obviously, I do write on my own in this dingy little room, or at the library. I go to the library a lot. But in terms of publishing those books, I absolutely believe in hiring editors, in hiring book cover designers, and working with other people to promote the book. So you definitely can't do that on your own. But in terms of networking, I've always networked on Twitter mainly. I love Twitter. I think it's brilliant for meeting people who you can help each other, really, and that's the main thing. I then often invite people to an interview like we're doing here for my podcast, and that means I get to know them a bit. And I basically try and promote them. That's more my networking skill. I try and do things to help them. And then, as I said, things tend to come back to you over time. So that's really important. So yeah, networking is a lot about helping other people, and then, stuff happens basically. But I certainly, without Twitter and my blog, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Yeah, so social media, online presence, these are your main tools.
Absolutely, and people, there's a bit of an argument, well, not an argument, it's a viewpoint that authors should only focus on writing more books and not bother with any of the online stuff. Like, there's some people who are saying that. But interestingly, the people who say that are the people who already have 30 books, 40 books, a lot of books out there. When you're just starting out as an author, so I have two novels, my own novels are research heavy. They're not, you can't just dash them off. You have to do a lot of research. I love all of that. That's what I love. But in the 9 months it takes me to write a book, am I not going to market at the same time? Should I only be writing? So I think that there's a real place for both, that you should definitely write more books. That should be your plan. But also in the evenings and, in other times, you can be looking at networking, doing stuff, talking to readers, talking to other writers.
Yes, I totally agree. I mean, you can't spend 16 hours a day just writing. You can't spend the same amount of time just marketing. I think a healthy balance between the two is pretty obvious, and is, I think, very, very necessary in the modern world for a modern author. So I think this will be it, more or less. Yes. So is there anything you wanted to wish our listeners? Some advice, a story to tell? Something nice so that they could take it away and just jump to work, just start working on their projects. Anything you want.
Well, yeah, that's anything I want is quite a tough one, but yeah, I mean, I really think that these days it's a lot about just trying, rather than the passive way of getting attention, which was, asking for permission and all of that and letters. It's really about making an effort to get out there yourself. Self-publishing, if you want a book deal, self-publishing is a way to build an audience these days. So it's not seen in the kind of stigmatized way it used to be. And as I said about the empowerment of the author, you can really become somebody with some power. In the past, the author had no power, really. They just waited for someone to pick them. But now you can pick yourself. And there's a guy called Seth Godin, who's a really, cool guy online, good marketer, and he says pick yourself, back your own books, and get out there and build a platform and self-publish and do your stuff. So I think that would be my message, is sort of empower yourself and get out there, and you never know what will happen. My life is certainly vastly different from 4 years ago, so I wish that for everybody as well.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Joanna, for your time. And I remind our listeners that you can find Joanna on www.thecreativepenn.com, and that's Penn with a double N. Right?
That is correct. Or on Twitter @thecreativepenn. So yeah, anyone can send me any questions.
Okay, thank you very much for your time, and good luck with your books. Good luck with your book deals. Hopefully, one day we'll see you on the New York bestsellers list.
Oh, you will. You will. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.